Are we on now?
Yeah, we're on now.
Oh, okay.
Burb
Maybe
Love.
I think that what it does is it shows that we're going to go live, and I think when it does that, you can comment, or maybe because she's
Oh,
a moderator, I don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
Burb Love had a horrible accident just a bit ago.
Oh, really?
He fell down on some concrete. She's in the hospital right now.
Oh my gosh. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
hope everything will be okay with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'll be praying for her, my goodness. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think she was commenting on one of my videos yesterday, or she was definitely, I think, at the premiere I had on Sunday. So, bless her heart.
Yeah. I know.
Goodness.
I know. She
Mm.
she sent me a card because I got hurt. I'm pretty sure she got hurt worse than me. Hers is like
Oh,
a head injury.
yeah.
So
Hey, Winter. Hey,
I don't know. At the
Mockingjay.
same, injuries are funny because here I was wailing at the ER, and I have a high pain tolerance for an arm, and here she has a head injury, and she's not sitting there crying. She sent me a picture.
Oh,
My
don't be
mom
hard on
always told
yourself.
me. My mom always told me if it doesn't hurt, that's when you should worry.
Yeah, true.
She said if
That's
you're
true.
had a serious injury and you're
Mhm.
sitting there and it's not hurting, she said
Yeah,
that's when you worry.
that's true. That is very I've heard that
Have you?
too. Mhm. Well, I used to work in EMS too. Hey, Dennis. Hey, Michelle. Oh, oh, Michelle's budgie passed away yesterday of old age. I'm
Oh,
so sorry.
oh.
Oh, that's a
They
hard
don't live
thing.
long enough, those poor little things. They're
I
like the most
know.
underrated birds.
Mhm. They
They're so
really are.
beautiful.
I think cockatiels get like a good rating, like when you talk about them and stuff, um, but I do think budgies are very underrated. They
Yeah.
talk, you know, as long as they don't get phobic. When they get phobic, it's hard to reel them back in. I've been told. Um,
That's what I
but
experienced.
yeah, but they're also like if they're your bird, they're very loving and stuff too. Hey, service dog. Hey, Leonie. I hope I didn't miss
Hi,
anybody. If
service
so,
dog. Hi, Leonie. Hey, Winter. Hi, Dennis. Oh, Condo. Oh, boy. Here we go.
oh
Here we go.
goodness.
Okay,
Do you
so
do you have a
today we're not
drink
going to do
today or no?
topics, right? We're just going to chat.
No, we're just well, I know you had mentioned wanting to do that, and I got to thinking after, like, it's really hard. Hey, Lori, for you to like research things and stuff like that. So I think didn't we discuss we'll do Q&As and read
Yeah.
comments and um we'll do the same thing next Thursday and then the following week we'll just see. We'll play it by ear on how you're
Condo, yes, we discussed Burb Love.
feeling.
She's sitting in the ER right now.
Oh. Do you have a drink tonight, Rebecca, or no?
Yeah, if I can get it. My gosh. Okay. All right.
I got like a hillbilly drink, but it's kind of like we call it the Jackson County Mule, but
Oh, wow.
it's like
What's in it?
um like ginger ale, wild turkey, lemon because I didn't have limes. I prefer limes. And then I have like basil, rosemary, thyme,
Oh my gosh, that is a hillbilly drink.
ginger.
That is
Yeah, it's it.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Cheers.
I got more than that in it too. It's Jackson, and I even got my little mason jar. You see my little ball jar. Um, so yeah,
Amanda has iced coffee.
amen. I had a nice coffee today. I don't drink those very often, but I actually treated myself to Dunkin' today. Well, I'm trying to get my daughter to drink iced coffee and give up Pepsi because Pepsi,
Yeah,
sodas are really bad for you.
they are
So
in so
she,
many ways.
yeah, so
I'm guilty of drinking too many.
she had to have labs early this morning, and I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll buy you an iced coffee and you give it a whirl.
Leonie, I
So
thought I read wrong. I thought you said I have two parrot boobs from the 1960s.
books. Oh,
That's where
yeah,
my mind is.
that's cool. I have an older one that's about It might just be about Amazons, though. When I find them, like, at Goodwill, I buy them, and then if I know somebody, um, like, that has that particular bird, I'll send it to them. It's pretty good, Amanda. It's pretty good, I gotta say.
Well, Kondo says you're growing pond life.
Hmm? I am?
Kondo says you're growing pond life in your jar.
Okay. Hey, these herbs even came from my own garden.
Really?
Mhm.
Do you garden?
A little. I would a lot more if I had more land.
Yeah.
Yeah, just little stuff, like, I have tomatoes, peppers growing, like bell peppers, and then some, like, basil, thyme, um, what else? I had some parsley, it died, um,
So you got
and
some
I
fresh stuff to kind of let
yeah,
the
yeah,
birds nibble.
mhm, I do, and mint and lemon balm is my favorite. Um, you're drinking chocolate milk. Oh, yay.
Listen to you. Oh, yay.
Yeah. Cheers. I'll stick with my fancy hillbilly drink.
Yeah. Cheers to the, yeah. Cheers to the chocolate milk.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
I drink
really
a lot of
thought
water too.
we were doing a big something when we bought our fruit tree. And we thought, oh, Annie's going to have fresh peaches, and we're going to have fresh peaches, and it's just all going to be peachy keen. And yeah, yeah, I always wondered, why don't people grow peach trees and things like that in their yards? Like nobody does. And I could never understand. Well, I found out why real quick. Squirrels and animals eat your fruit,
Well,
and there's really no stopping them.
they take years to produce too. Now the birds, you can hang, a pie pan, like the little metal pie pans.
Hmm.
You can hang those, and those will kind of keep birds away.
But not
Um,
squirrels, I bet.
squirrels are the hardest ones to keep away. I think there's something you can put around the base of the tree.
Mm.
I'm not sure though. Condo, I have to tell you, I had a little cousin and I had him convinced that chocolate milk came from chocolate cows. And he believed it for for years and years. It was the funniest thing. Yeah, that's see winter. I had a cherry tree in Ohio and we used to hang the tin pie pans. It helped at least, you know. Um but yeah, I have a little garden, but I have my daughter got me a fig tree. I have a couple blueberry bushes out front and a grapevine that just started. It'll take years, and an elderberry bush. I love elderberry for like when you're sick.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I'm trying. Like I do what I can, you know. But
Yeah,
I was really excited to move here because I felt like I could have fruit trees and such more so than like Ohio. Yeah.
I'd
But
love a cherry tree.
yeah, they they um they produce pretty quick. We had cherries coming in like 2 years when
Really?
we got one, but I also save like if I have lemon seeds, old grapes, whatever, avocado pits, I throw everything over my back fence. I'll probably never see any of it or benefit from it, but someday somebody will have a food, forest, and they're probably going to need it. Lemons, limes, anything that can't go to my chickens, I throw it over. Yep.
Does anybody have questions? We figured we'd read the chat and um, answer some questions and
Yeah.
throw seeds your way.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't like to waste anything. Um,
You have questions, Winter? All right.
all right. Condo's all about getting his he wants an
Influencer
influencer fee.
appearance fee. Yes, I see that. I see that.
Mhm.
Did you name your birds or did they already have names? You can go first, Jennifer.
Um, so the only one that I have that I haven't renamed is Percy. And that's because one, Percy came from a very good situation. And two, I mean, clearly he knows his name very, very well. Um, the name I was told that Buster had, he didn't know that name. So I think they were lying. Because I often wonder if Buster was on like social media, whoever had him like before, and they didn't want me to like know that. And um, Earl did have a different name, and I felt like Earl, especially so, needed a new life, new name.
Yeah.
Um, my dogs were rescues, so a couple of them had the name they came with, and a couple of them, like my dog Max, his name was Axel, like Axel Rose, and he, he was like he weighed half his body weight and stuff. So I was like, I am not letting this sweet dog have a jerk name like that.
Oh,
So we named him Max or Maxie and all kinds of stuff. So, um,
we we named all of our animals except for the crested gecko Marshmallow because Chet owned her and her name's Marshmallow. So
Michelle just said Petro the budgie passed away. Is it Pedro? Pedro. I'm not sure.
Pedro.
Pedro. I have to look because I follow a lot of people
No, I didn't hear that, Michelle.
that I like. Rebecca was just saying, little budgies, they just don't live the long,
Long
long
enough.
life. Yeah.
They're so sweet. Wish they could stay longer.
Hmm.
Fonda wants to know what happened to Earl's left foot. I would like to know that.
Um, well, so both of his feet are technically, messed up. But when I got him from the people I got him from, I was told that when they got him, he had been on these really small perches and it deformed his feet. But I always felt that the one foot had been broken and not
Yeah.
repaired. Or maybe they did try to repair it and it just couldn't be or whatever. Um, and I did find out last year that it indeed had been broken. We got a new vet and she examined it really well and she could feel where it had broke, but luckily it just like fused down. I mean,
Yeah.
of course it didn't go back right, but it doesn't stop him from getting around, I'll tell you that. He gets around pretty good. Um, but his other foot does appear as to be clubbed a little bit as well. Um, so that's what happened to his feet. And then he had, really bad scissor beak as well.
I had somebody ask me a question. This was a really good Yolenka. She's come onto the chat sometimes. She wants to know what sets cockatoos apart from all the parrots. They're so different. So what's different about them? The good and the bad parts, and intelligence would be number one, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, they're not known for their talking, but like their understanding and I mean, they are intelligent on a different level in a way. In my opinion. And I mean, they really are childlike, like the bond and the love and the, wanting to be a part of the family. They call them a Velcro bird to whoever they choose as their person. They just want to be. I mean, Buster literally wants to sit on Ken's lap. You know, um, he's just extremely um,
Needy.
emotionally like,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
very emotional,
emotionally
very bonded.
intelligent as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I do think for a cockatoo, I think Buster talks pretty good. I mean, sometimes he's not making sense, like he's just throwing out this and that.
Consonants and yeah.
Yeah, but I can ask him questions and he'll answer me, which is really it blows my mind sometimes the way he'll answer me back in an appropriate manner.
Yeah.
Like Buster, do you love me? And he'll say, I try. you know, he's just
So he's not
yeah.
mimicking all the time.
Hmm.
What else? I wrote down that
I don't know when, or I don't know if I mean, I assume they're like that with their partner in the wild. I guess
I
it's kinda
do.
sad in a way. I don't really know as much about them in the wild as I do in my
Me
home.
either.
Yeah, yeah,
They're manipulative.
yeah. They are very
I
manipulative,
never
but
had a
so are
bird be
3 and
manipulative.
5-year-olds.
You know,
Yeah,
I've never had a bird be manipulative till I came across cockatoos.
mhm.
And
Buster's
ho
sneaky. He
yeah,
which I
sneaky, like
know goes in with being manipulative, but, like, I mean, he'll sneak attack you, buddy. Like, he'll get you. Yeah.
Ani learned when he walked across the kitchen floor not to let his toenails
Mhm.
chatter. I don't know how he figured it out, but he figured out that
Yeah,
if I could hear him when he was going into the kitchen when he shouldn't. And so he learned to tiptoe so I can't tell when he's in the kitchen.
yeah.
So, and something my other cockatoo used to do, Tika, she would sit there and look at you, tilt her head and whine and hold her foot out. So you're like, oh my God, that's so sweet, and you kind of bend in and then she'd bite. It
Yeah.
was always a trick,
That's
you
what
know?
Ken will tell me all the time, like, "He wants to come to you," and I'm like, "I know, but it's not like when he wants to come to you." Like, I've witnessed it, like, all the time when you're not ho I've let him trick me so many times, and it's like, "No, sir."
Yeah.
Cockatoo bites hurt. I mean, there's people on YouTube I see, or all kinds of platforms, they get bit all the time. I'm convinced some of them like it, but, uh-uh. I don't like getting bit by a cockatoo. I
Isn't their
don't.
beak different than other birds? Like, I've heard that it's three-pronged, but the other birds aren't three-pronged. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Or
true. Because
or
Buster
three
has
hinges or something
yeah,
like
he's
that?
got, like, the top, and then there's, like, 2 little pokey things at the bottom.
Yeah.
They can break a bone, so can a macaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, because I know my daughter who I mean, she's actually why we ended up getting a parrot. Um, she Buster was, like, trying to be snuggly with her, and she let him, and he bit her on the nose, and she was emotionally upset, like, she cried, but she's like, "Mom, I know better than any of the kids, like, I know better, and I fell for it," and I said, "He'll trick you. He'll trick you. He'll make you think he loves you and turn on you on a dime," you know? So
Service dog Kazana said the bigger question is it going to be a good frame tonight?
if you freeze she didn't freeze
Yeah, if I
last week.
freeze.
You didn't freeze last week, though.
I know. I know, that
Hey.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
Winter says, "I wonder if Velcro is a type of survivor instinct." Hmm, I don't know, I never thought
I've
about
never
that.
thought about it that way either. Yeah, but I know I've told this story before. The first time I actually spoke with Rebecca by phone, I had kind of like let my guard down. I was cleaning the kitchen and Buster attacked the back of my leg. Because and so he had snuck up on me. Um, so and he used to always be like that over that coffee bar that had that bottom part. He would always get under there and try to dash out and get my feet and bite my toes. So
And
they
one
do
was
have a
bringing up how, Ani would be at the windowsill with Sebastian, the bearded dragon, and how
mhm.
he'd sit there like everything's fine, and if I'm, like, kinda not looking, his foot would go in the back, and he'd just creep with his and he'd touch a
Mhm.
tail with a toe, or, and he'd go and I'd look at him, and he'd pull back, and I'd look away, and he'd sit there real sneaky with his foot going backwards, trying to
Yeah,
get him.
yeah. That could be winter. I mean, he's extremely close to kin. Like I said, we went away a few times. He won't hardly drink any water. He doesn't hardly want to eat any food. He just gets really like out of sorts. Um, they are. They really are. I'm just gonna call you Wendy if that's okay because I can never say your first name and I don't want to mess it up. I'm
You
probably
know
even
what I've
saying your last
wondered?
name wrong.
Was speaking of, like, the bond and mates and wild and stuff, I've always been told that in captivity, the males can kill the females when they're breeding. You have to
Well,
really
I
kinda know
know they
what you're
get
doing. But they
I
don't do that in
know
the
they get
wild, do
rough.
they?
I don't I don't know. I know they get, really rough. I mean, that's part of their,
I
you
mean,
know.
and on the other hand, I've heard that their mating ritual is really beautiful and
Oh,
tender.
really? I'll have
Uh-huh.
to look because I'm sure
It's not just a
it's out
quick
there.
1, 2,
Mhm.
3 and you're done. There's a
I
whole,
could
like, ritual.
I could see that, because of the emotional attachment that they have with their person. I could see that. Um, you heard me
Condo has
talk about
questions.
where is that gonna go? Will Buster have free access to it or so, Ken's still kinda, like, mulling it out in his head, um, but and I've contacted a couple companies asking if they would do a collaboration with me to get Earl his own aviary because Earl, which I'll have to convince Earl that it was Buster's and then I give it to him because that's why I think Earl loves the aviary so much because I think he feels like he's taking something with Buster. It's really adorable. Earl even plays with little toys out there when he gets to go in the aviary. And he's not much to play. Um, but anyway, we're working on that. We'd like for them to each have their own aviary where I can open a door. It's like it can be connected and I can open a door and they can go out. Now Earl is super easy to take out with his magic cube. But for me to take Buster out there, he's one of a few things are going to happen. He's going to fly out in the yard, try to get to the chickens, and then try to bite me when I pick him up. You know what I mean? Like, or he's just going to refuse to go with me or bite me, or it's just and it's stressful for him too. So if the way they make these dog kennels, they have these little panels where you could connect it to a building and
Hmm.
I have a chicken door that's like a solar panel chicken door that can open and close with a button. So if I have that, I could just open it and Buster could go in and out as he pleases, um, which would be nice. So um, I think that was it. Um, and we're also there's that what I can't see that last word he asked. Also, we kind of want to build off. So Earl, like he has a lot of trauma. And he wants a certain amount of time with his humans and then he wants to be alone, he wants it to be quiet, and he doesn't want to hear anybody. And if you disrupt that peace, you know, he screams. So we'd
Mm.
really like to try to build like a soundproof little room for him to sleep in or when he needs his like space to himself where you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily like taking a nap, but like if he's like, okay, I'm done with you guys. I've had breakfast. I just want to be alone. Leave me alone. Um, because of the second he hears us, he starts screaming. But he'll do that too when he's over it. When he's like, there's a point at the table when we do breakfast on the weekends where he's just like, he starts, and it's because he wants to be alone. Um, so yeah, he
Well
does.
well, are you talking about, like, were you gonna connect the aviary to the house and then have a way for them to go in and out of the
Mhm.
aviary into the
Yeah,
house?
yeah. We're
Huh.
that's the plan, and, I mean, it won't be open all the time, but, like,
Yeah.
say it's a nice day and they wanna go out and Ken's at work, with the way it could be set up, Buster could go out there
Like a
without
doggy door almost?
yeah, yeah, and then, now Earl, I can take him out really easily. Or if they're having one of those days where they're fussing with each other so much, Earl can go to his aviary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're getting along much better, but they still have their days. Yesterday was a bad day. Today was much, much better. Um, so, but Earl was kept, excuse me, mostly in a dark room covered for years. I mean, years and years. So, we continue to work with him. but the
But he's
screaming
probably
is
conflicted because he was starving for attention, but he's
mm,
also used to that peace.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably really conflicted between
He
wanting the
yeah.
2.
Mhm. And, it just, I mean, I have days where I'm like, I've done nothing for him, and then I have other days where I realize how much he's blossomed. But I mean, it's hard. It there's days where it gets to me when he does it over and over and over, like 20 minutes in a row. But it is a very big sensory thing with Ken, and Earl
Yeah.
knows that. And like we've said before, Earl or birds don't care about your feelings; they care about
Yeah.
theirs, and they like
Yeah.
any kind of attention, negative or positive. So even if you're telling him to stop it, he that's fine with him. He's like a 2-year-old. He doesn't care. But I love the little feller. I sure do. But he is he does press you to the brinking of your mind. He really does. But I love him and I'm committed to him.
Yeah.
And he's so dang smart and funny and yeah.
How did you come across him? Like, was he for sale? And
Um Somebody asked, "Oh, do Ani and Buster have any favorite toys or activities?" Well, I think both Ani and Buster prefer baby toys, but Buster likes pacifiers, scrub daddies, uh, chairs, and walls. What's Ani like? And then I'll answer how I got Earl because it's a pretty interesting question or
okay.
interesting how I got him. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, Ani likes baby and toddler toys, and
Hmm.
before he got kind of messed up with his hormones and so hyper and neurotic, he was really loving like puzzles, like things where you open baby toys where you open doors and push buttons and pull
Hmm.
levers. He liked that sort of stuff. And what else he likes? There's some simple things he really likes. Oh, Q-tips. I don't know
Oh,
why. You
cute.
give him a Q-tip, and that is a treasure.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Now Buster, he can almost. So we have a gate in front of our door now, and it has a little puppy. It's a puppy gate, and when you open it, he'll come through it. But he has figured out he can almost open it. He'll get it at some point that he can nearly open that because he likes to run through it. Um,
Does he like locks like Ani? Or he's not as obsessed with
well,
them?
so I have like a little fly in my room that I'm trying to get. So his cage, this new cage we got, well, new to us, it has a slider on the side. So I have that chained with, they're not Cabineer clips, but they're the kind that screw, the really good ones.
Okay.
And um, so I have chain on that, and I'll video that he's trying to break out. He works on it. And I realized last week when I cleaned the back of his cage, I'd push once a week or so, I push his cage up and clean behind it and wipe the cage down. He had gotten that chain off. And I'm not talking about some little like screw on metal clip. I'm talking like a big, thick one.
Hmm.
And he had gotten that loose. Um, I think I've mentioned it before. That's one of my huge fears is that like I'll be stepped out of the house and one of them's gonna get out and get hurt. That's like my biggest fear. Um, or like Earl would get out and you know, usually I shut the doors and stuff, but like what if one of the dogs was out and he got to him because he is not nice to dogs. He provokes them. But yeah, that's one of my biggest
Eric the
things.
Legend spits on his dogs.
Yeah, yeah. Earl calls my poodles because he wants to bite their tail.
That's
Because in fact,
funny.
Max has walked by when he calls him, and he's almost flown off with the beak with his tail. I mean, and Max is 140 pounds. I
Yeah.
do have a camera service dog. I just need Ken to get it hung up. But anyway, I don't know when or the. I'm telling you, cockatoos are a lot of parrots actually are goats when it cut and I don't say goats are greatest of all time, like goats really are known for escaping. We
Yeah.
had a goat that escaped constantly, and he finally just went to live on another farm because he just wouldn't stay. They're pretty good. Anyway, so and most a lot of you have heard this story before. I had met a lady when I first moved here. I bought eggs from her, and after I got Buster, she had gotten a cockatoo and then like 6 other birds. And she called me or messaged me one day and said, "Hey, I met a lady at the store that was buying bird seed and saw that I was buying bird seed and asked me if I would please take her bird."
Wow.
And that he had something wrong with his beak and some other problems, and he was a senior bird, and that she didn't want him anymore, but she wanted him to go somebody that had experience with scissor beak. And she said, "Let me message my friend and give her your number." So she messaged me, and I really wasn't looking for another bird, but when I heard about it, I did have a macaw that had scissor beak, so I am familiar with scissor beak. So I told her I had to come and meet him, and that if I decided I would take him, I had to come back um, the next day because I can't remember why, but anyway, when I saw him and I saw his condition, I was like, "Yeah, we'll take him."
Um,
But and again, I didn't know if I was going to keep him, but we did. So, oh no, Winter, he couldn't chew through the metal, but I could see them figuring out how to pick the lock off the key. Um, I mean, the things Buster has gotten out of is, well, he almost got out of his the kennel that I had him in. I had told my son last time we went to the vet. I said, "Will you go with me? I have a feeling that Buster's going to get out." And he said,
yeah.
"Sure, I'll go with you." And he did. He almost got out. And I'm telling you, if he would have got out while I was driving, I would have had to call the police probably to or EMS. So, because he would have got me. So, but yeah, no, they couldn't chew through all that. I don't see anything
Us
else.
talking about they're talking about how Ani ordered things off Alexa.
Oh,
If
Alexa,
I
yeah.
were if I were rich, I would love to just sit there and say, "Send."
Mhm.
When I don't know how to work her that way, but I know if you ask what's on your shopping list, she'll
Mhm.
read it to you. I
Mhm.
just don't know how he got one going and kept it going. I would love to sit there and say, buy, send, or whatever,
Yeah.
just to
Mhm.
see what would come to the door,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. There was another bird that did not wasn't there. Was it Petra? Didn't
Petra
Petra the
worked
gray?
she could work the Google one,
Mhm.
Alexa, and, there was another one, and she knew the different ones, how to open them, what to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know I've heard Buster say I can't she's I have one in here, so he can say Alexa. He's said that before. Now Earl, I know he could.
Yeah,
But Earl could probably figure out how to order stuff. Buster just talks so jumbled, I don't know how he would do it,
yeah.
um, but he does say her name occasionally. Yeah.
"Oh, you're Cat 1052 Pokemon buddy. Okay.
Oh.
Hi.
Yeah, he probably could, Amanda. Where'd you go,
Trina
Condo?
Trina plays the game Trina plays the game with me, Pokemon
Oh,
Go."
cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
she's on my friend list, and she's one of the buddies that I play with.
that's nice. Buster would
Yeah.
order an Albert. He was going on a rant today, a big one. My daughter was out making some supper, and he had said quite a few bad words, but we were talking about how we don't know who Albert is, and I used to think like maybe it was Fat Albert, like he watched that cartoon, but Earl can talk well enough that he would have said Fat Albert or said like didn't have Fat Albert say like hey 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 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he would say that, but I I have no idea where Albert come from.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah, when Earl would order Barbies or in Barbie's daughter.
Does Earl like Barbies?
Oh, yeah, yeah, he does.
Oh,
He has a fart ninja that he's obsessed with too. He kisses
how'd
him
you
and,
find that out?
um, Well, I had gotten that Barbie dream house to I the originally when we got that Barbie dream house, we were gonna resell it. And I don't know why I had set it out and I put him up on the table and he instantly was like walking around it and perching on it. So I thought, well, if he likes the Barbie dream house, he might like a Barbie because he grew up around this person's grandkid. And so I heard that she had read to him quite a bit. So I thought, maybe she played Barbies and stuff with him. So I
Mm,
did, and then we've just kind of expanded with the Barbie stuff. And
yeah.
then um I don't want to say her last name or first name or Wendy, she sent him a soccer Barbie because he likes to kick soccer balls. And when we showed it to him and he was like talking to her, he asked her, he's like, "Do you have a daughter?" So I bought a little Barbie at a garage sale and brought it home and told him it was Barbie's daughter. So, but he does love Farting Ninja as well. He likes them. So,
Farting ninjas.
hmm
We're talking about farting ninjas.
yeah, I found it at Goodwill, and my son is all the time doing new fart noises around Earl, trying to teach him to do it. Oh yeah, Arnie does bark. Buster and Earl and even Percy's trying to bark like the
Percy's
dogs.
trying to
Mhm.
fart.
Yep. And I think Percy said "Bo" yesterday. Um,
Really?
yeah, we are busy teaching him "Rooster." Oh, cool.
Yeah, the Ani chicken.
Mhm.
Fancy white crusted chicken.
Mhm. It's funny that Ani he'll cluck and stuff like a chicken where and then Buster is just obsessed with the chickens like they're his girlfriends.
Yeah,
I think it's funny, like, the contrast of all
yeah.
that. Mhm.
Ani doesn't even I wanna show Ani chickens so bad someday.
Mhm. Yeah, I wonder what he would think of them.
I don't
I
know.
I swear my chickens try to mimic some of the little soft sounds that Buster makes,
Yeah?
but maybe I've just been around birds too long, I don't know.
What kind of chickens do you have?
Um, let's see, I got a couple Rhode Island Reds,
Oh,
I've got an Americana, um, I have like, a mixed one, that's she's part Easter egger, part something else. She's big. She lays big green eggs, and sometimes they're double yolks. Um, and then I have 2, Buff Orpingtons, which are my favorites. Um,
do what?
Buff Orpingtons chickens, they're, like, kind of a light cream color.
Oh,
Um, they're very reliable. So I have 2 Rhode Island Reds, and they're supposed to be reliable layers, but mine, like, the lady was moving and just gave them away, and my daughter and I both got some, and it's kind of like maybe they weren't something, and they none of the ones we've gotten from them, lay very well. And my daughter Emily had one, Elizabeth, that Earl used to have tea parties with. She never laid, and she didn't grow right, and she never laid. And um, I
we had
recommend Easter
what?
egger it's a chicken that lays green eggs or green, pink, blue, and sometimes even black. There's like you'll have to look up almost like the rainbow of colors with eggs. They're very beautiful.
Are
Um,
they consistent? So, like, if they're laying green eggs, will they always pretty much be green
Pretty
or
much, yeah. Um,
okay.
and the Easter eggers don't lay daily like most Rhode Island Reds or Buffalo Orpingtons. Um, Wendy, I recommend Rhode Island Reds and Buff Orpingtons and Plymouth Rocks. They're kind of, although my Rhode Island Reds are very loud, they're normally known to be quieter. Same with the Buffs and the Plymouth Rock. They're reliable layers. They're usually quieter. You can have them in the country or the city. You know,
I have
um,
suggestions. I always had banny roosters and
I've
silky
had some of
hens,
those. Uh
and
huh. I've
so
had those.
I love those. They're
I
so
love
sweet and mild-tempered, and I was shocked what good layers they were. I was surprised.
mhm. Now see, I have had no luck with we had a Banny that we just kept her because we loved her, but my every time I got a Silkie, they were given to me, and they were meaner than crap. And
Really?
yes, and it's very hard to distinguish a Silkie between a rooster and a hen. And a lady gave me 3 and told me they were all hens, and it ended up this one kept fighting with my rooster, and then I finally figured out he was a rooster. Um,
Wow.
Wendy, I think they do okay in the heat. Now, I mean, you just gotta give them a constant source of water. When it's really hot, I'll freeze some ice and put little herbs and chicken seed and stuff in it, and they'll peck at it and things like that. But
Is your hen house, like, heated or
it's just
no?
they're outside.
They're
I mean, they
outside.
have they have a coop, and then I'm not allowed to free range here. Oh, in Ohio, I free range my chickens, and they just got put up at night. Um,
Do they is there a heater in there or
I don't need a heater here.
okay.
Honestly, in Ohio, I really didn't either. Chickens are they're more warm and cold weathered than people give them credit for. Now, there's some fancy chickens that are not. The ones with like the little crusted looking thing on their head. They're
Yeah.
not good. They do better they need to be in a warm climate.
Hmm.
Um, but the reason we
We had
used
a barn. We had a barn
mm,
that was always warm, so I
mhm.
don't know.
Well, we
It
had a coop in Ohio that was warm, but the only reason we used a lamp and a light is because, I was trying to produce eggs to provide for my family and to sell to pay for, having them. And when the when it gets dark earlier, they don't lay as much. And
mm,
so if you keep a light on them, they'll lay better. So we kept a light on them in the winter, in the fall, all year, so that they would lay better. I mean, they still would slow down on production, but it did help. That and some supplemental stuff I would get them. So, oh, you would be good. Okay, there. You could even get some of those fancy ones if you wanted.
Trina's in southeastern Ohio.
Where at? That's where I'm from. Appalachia. That's where I'm from, Trina. You'll have to email me and tell me where you're from.
Leonie wants to know what HOA is
Oh, Zanesville. Okay, I'm originally from Ray, so you're a little further up from than me.
in
I'm
Painesville.
more, I guess, southern Ohio. Um, I think we're Zanesville. I think was a couple hours from me. HOA is a homeowners association, and they root they boss you around, right, Winter?
They have what to live there. How,
You
how
have
does
to
that
follow
work?
their
So to live in
rules.
that neighborhood, you have to follow their rules, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, you have to. Well, usually you pay a fee. And some are not
Oh,
very much. Like I know my daughter's in an HOA and it's like $5 a month. And some HOAs allow um like you to have chickens. Other ones just don't. Yeah, I mean there's some of them are pretty strict and some of them are not. Um, so yeah, I'm from it's like um Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky. Like I'm in that really I was very close to Eastern Kentucky. So where we come from is a very nice area, but they have all the problems that Eastern Kentucky and Charleston, West Virginia have. And it started with the opioids and it went to heroin and now it's fentanyl. It's a
what
really
does an HOA do for you? What does an HOA like? What do they do for you? Do they do anything for you or?
I mean, supposedly they kind of protect you, but
Yeah.
some HOAs are they're fine. Like I know people in an HOA um that have chickens, they're allowed. But yeah, yeah. And like my sister was in one at one time and she wasn't allowed to hang out potted house plants. She could have like the, you know, planters on her porch with outdoor plants, but she wasn't allowed to ever hang hanging baskets on her porch.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a good question. I've never had a female cockatoo. Do you see that one, Rebecca?
Yeah, I
But,
just saw it.
um
I've had a female, but, like, I don't know. My other cockatoo was a whole different species, so I can't go by how they acted. I just have noticed one thing online. I've noticed that whenever there's a really, like, calm, sweet
mm,
cockatoo, it's female. You
mhm,
know, they're just chill and
mhm.
everything. I've noticed that. Now,
Yeah,
I wish I had known that. You know,
yeah,
when they said, you know, "Oh, males are get they're hormonal and everything," I thought, "Okay, that must mean they come into season for a little while and, you know, so they act crazy or bite a little more, I can deal with that." I didn't know
mhm.
that they meant, like, all the time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
but that's the trade-off is males have so much bigger personalities and are funnier.
yeah. Uh, in my experience, Wendy, I think with all birds, there are exceptions. Um, but in all species of parrots, in my opinion, mostly the males talk more than the females.
Yeah.
There are exceptions. For example, like Cosmo is a female gray. I think if you're going to get a female that talks a lot, it probably would be a gray. I had a female gray that didn't talk at all. She talked one time on a full moon. She started blabbering because she was wild caught. They caught them trying to smuggle her into the country and they were seized. And she was talking in a different language, like literally
Mhm.
talk. It was a full moon. You know how they get at full moons, and she was going on and on and on, and it was in a different language. That's the only time I ever heard her speak. So,
Dennis, they get worse in the very, very early spring, and they kinda peak up again in the beginning of fall, but, some males, it's just almost like year
yeah.
round, and
Hmm.
that's how it is with Bonnie. He goes in, like, waves, you know, where he's okay one week and not okay the next week, has an
Hmm.
extra bad day and all this, but the implants that we were able to get him have stopped him from wanting to breed and have stopped him from being territorial. So it hasn't really stopped the aggression much, but it did its job. You know,
Yeah.
I want him happy, and I figure if he's wanting to mate all the time and he can't, that he has to be miserable.
Yeah. I um I know I even have to watch Buster with like, hiding or wanting to get under blankets. Like Ken will put a blanket over him, stuff and joke around, but it doesn't last for a long time.
Yeah,
Because they can go into like, I don't want to say artificial because it's real, that's not the right word, but they can go into a hormonal fit um, if if they're covered too long or if they're not covered long enough. Like
yeah.
it really is such a tricky thing, in my opinion, with the males. But by and large, the female cockatoos that I see on YouTube or social media platforms are so sweet. um, so that's just what I think. Yeah,
Tommy,
yeah.
I'm really sorry about that. Did you ever figure out why he lost him? He lost 3 birds,
Oh,
September 2022, the same night.
oh my goodness, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, that's right. Leonie lives in Australia, so she actually
Okay,
gets
I
to
just
see.
saw that. I
Mhm.
thought, "Oh, how neat."
Yeah. Yeah. Leonie, you sent Buster and Earl and $20, didn't you? Or it's a 20, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, I have it hung up here with my some of the stuff that people has sent and made for us. I have it up on my little shelf. Amazon will sell you an incredible cockatoo for honey.
Oh my gosh.
There's a guy, Leonie, in Australia that feeds, I wanna say they're lesser or greater cockatoos because 'cause they're in Australia, I'm pretty certain, And maybe no, they're not lories because lories do the nectar, I think. Anyway, there's another brand. It's Bill, something Bill, and he feeds wild cockatoos. And people send him like feed and stuff for them. It's really cute, and I can't remember
It
his
must be
name.
frustrating to see on YouTube these people that are like touching the wild cockatoos and talking to them and friends with them.
Mhm.
And here, like, and he said she tries to talk to them and they fly away or whatever.
Yeah,
That's got to
yeah,
be frustrating. That's
I
like
know.
me with, I love squirrels and I've never been able to get them to, you know, come near me or anything. And I know there's
Mhm.
other people that will feed them right out of their hand.
Yeah. Um, the squirrels here, they eat all my poor little bird seed that we put out in their feeders.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have flaming hot squirrel stuff that
yes.
I put, and it works.
See, I just use hot sauce, but the problem is
Oh, yeah.
it's the same thing. If the flaming hot is just hot sauce that's in it.
It's oil though. It's
Yeah.
oil, so you stir it on there and you can't
Mhm.
get it off. So, like, when it rains and things, it doesn't
Mhm.
wash off.
So I'll put just a whole thing of like cayenne down in the seed, and
Yeah.
they'll eat around it. I don't know. Yeah. But it's cute because I got a smart bird feeder sent to me, and it has the bird feeder, a hummingbird feeder, a water bowl, and it has 2 little hooks you can hang on it to put fruit or vegetables on.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really, really neat. Yeah, because we have, some rare, woodpecker here. Starts with P, chip or Condo will
Affiliated?
probably know. Yes,
Affiliated.
and they're big. My daughter has
Yeah.
seen it, and my husband has seen a small one. I haven't seen it yet, so I wanna get, woodpecker food to
They're
try.
really big. They're
They're
as big as a
they're big.
chicken.
Mhm. They're protected here, actually. Well, they're probably protected everywhere if they're rare, but, anyway, I wanna get feeders specifically for them so I can feed them and see them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Mhm. So,
I'd love one of those bird feeders that has a camera
mhm.
so you can watch
That's
the
what
bird.
I have, like, 3 of them.
Oh,
Um,
yeah?
yeah, yeah.
Can
Um,
do the squirrels go up and bother them or anything?
the squirrel I'll have to send you some videos. My daughter named the one out front Squirrel Butts, because that's every morning at well, because it gets daylight pretty early, like, by 6:30 or 7 a.m., that camera alarm out front goes off, and it's a squirrel. Because I always tell
Wow.
my daughter, like, "That's a squirrel." And every day now I have a male and female cardinal that come out back, and they usually get there before the squirrels make their rounds to the back. But this morning they went back there, and the squirrels had gotten the food already. And you should see, I have a video on YouTube. You'll have to go watch it. They were so
Okay.
brokenhearted that they didn't get their food because the squirrels got it before them. But now I have a new hummingbird that just came around yesterday, and it is just eating it up. I think I'm probably gonna have to refill it tomorrow. And it's a new hummingbird. It's one I've never seen before. So
Huh.
I love hummingbirds. They're neat to watch.
We always have them, and I have fed them for a great many years, and out of the blue this year, they didn't show up.
Mm.
So I don't after 20 years, I don't know what
Amanda,
happened.
Amanda, I know she always made her own nectar. I call it
That's what
nectar.
I do.
And she said this year they won't drink that one, so she had to buy some. And then they
Oh,
didn't they
really?
come back. Am I right, Amanda? She'll correct me if
I
I'm
never
wrong.
even saw any try to show up at her door or anything.
Um, oh, Wendy, Percy's kind of picky too
Got
as
it.
far as like chop. Is that what you mean? Do you mean like chop? Um, bird, yeah. Yeah, she had to buy some. I can get Percy to eat some plain pasta. He eats a little bit of scrambled eggs. We soaked some pasta blend from Supreme, and Ken did, and he ate it. Um, I don't
Read
know.
what Condo just said.
Oh gosh, hummingbirds love chocolate milk from brown. You're right. Um,
Scott's doing
I
fine. He came home. He's in the other room, and I think he's going to grill some hamburgers.
ooh, that sounds good.
So yeah, I can't cook. But poor guy works like 14-hour days and comes home and he has to cook.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, homemade chop. I freeze my when I make chop, I freeze it because that
Oh,
stuff's too
that's
expensive.
convenient. That's
Yeah,
nice.
and Buster likes things cold, and so that stuff's
So
too
does
expensive.
Ani.
Yeah, um, that stuff's too expensive to be making like this $30 thing of chop, and you fling it all out there for him in one day, and that no,
Yeah.
mm-mm, that ain't gonna happen. I'm too mm-mm. um, hummingbirds, huh? Yeah, the hummingbirds have been kind of sparse or whatever. Or do you mean the nectar for the? I don't mine when I make mine, mine's not out there long enough to ferment. If that's what you're talking about. Well, Percy will eat. I get him the Supreme bright blends, and then I also added like the colored pellets. It looks like little itty bitty tricks cereal.
Yeah, yeah.
Percy likes Cheerios too. And if you want to do something that you consider healthier, get some organic. Starts with a K, Kashi or whatever. They make
Oh, okay.
some. Um, yeah, Earl loves or Percy loves eggs too, and I can't get him to eat any veggies other than the pasta blends. I can't get him to eat veggies or anything either. Chop is a mixture of mostly vegetables, fruits, and sometimes nuts. Some people will throw like pine nuts in it as well. It's good for them, but mine won't eat it the way that traditionally parrots usually do.
And for whatever reason, a lot of the big parrots, well, cockatoos, they like um they like to eat little bits of things. It's so funny. I know with
They make
Bonnie, I'll
soup.
give him a walnut or something and he'll just look at it. But if I
Hmm.
chop it up real fine, he loves those little bitty, and I guess he's not the only one. I guess that's where chop came from.
Yeah. Well, um, like Buster, like he makes soup. Earl does too. They like to, I
Mhm.
call it cockatoo soup, but they
Yeah,
like the pasta blends I get from Zupreme, they soak them. Even
yeah.
Percy will eat them. Mine, by the time mine gets frosty, I'm tossing it anyway because Buster likes to eat cold food. He likes that stuff to be cold. So when it's defrosted, it gets pitched for the chickens. They get it. Um, Earl won't touch it. He won't touch the stuff. He'll occasionally eat an egg. He'll occasionally eat a grape. He chased my daughter down on the table one day. He wanted a bite of her Cheez It, and I normally would never let him have it, but I've never seen him eat anything. So I figured if he wanted that Cheez It that bad, he deserved a bite of it and probably needed something in it. And he's never done it since. And occasionally he'll eat like a little nibble of cheese, but I don't give him a lot of cheese, but yeah. Buster eats spaghetti. Buster eats what dad eats. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Percy loves plain spaghetti and plain pasta too. He loves bread. Oh my gosh, he loves like we'll give him just a little tiny piece of bread and he loves it. But
Sonny
fruits and
dives into spaghetti then it's till it's all over his face.
oh, I'll have to try that with Percy then
Yeah,
because he does like
cooked
pasta.
spaghetti, cooked
Hmm.
spaghetti.
That's the unique thing with parrots. Like they can have cooked or uncooked spaghetti, but they can't have uncooked beans. But they can have cooked beans. Yeah,
Hmm,
yeah. Well, yeah, winter, they love carbs. Well, you think about it, a bird has so much energy and burns up so much energy. Like, the birds outside, I save my grease, um, like bacon grease or any kind of soot, fat or whatever, and I throw it over the fence for the outside birds. They are so busy outside, they burn so many calories. They need a very, very high fat diet. So any
yeah.
kind of grease I have left over, well, number 1, I have a septic. I don't want the grease going down my septic, but I throw it over the fence for the birds to have it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, a lot of
I didn't
people
know
make
they would
birdie
I didn't
bread.
know they would use that.
Mhm. People used to go to, like, Save-A-Lot where we used to live, and they would buy they call it beef soot or pork soot, and that's how they would put bird seed in it, and that's how they fed their wild birds because they need that soot, that fat.
especially
Um
in the winter.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, the Leonie, the seeded bread, there are recipes for birdie bread, and I actually do keep meaning to do a episode or, a video where Buster, Earl, and I make, and Percy make, birdie bread, but they won't always eat it. They're pretty
Bonnie's too
picky.
fussy.
Ye
I try to make him these wonderful things, and he just turns his beak up at it.
Mhm. Yeah, they can have celery. Buster will occasionally eat, cucumber with he wants the seed. He is not real interested in a cucumber, but he'll eat the seed. Um, I don't think Buster's ever eaten celery, but I think he's, like, nibbled on it for the water part of it and then
Yeah.
pitches it. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Well, our hour is up.
yeah, it's up. And so next week we'll be over on our channel and we're gonna do the same kind of thing and let Rebecca continue to heal. If you hear something about bird love, will you let me know?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
will. I will.
Yeah. So, but cheers everybody. Hillbilly drinks for the win. And Rebecca didn't freeze. Everybody give her like clapping hands, clapping hands.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. We're on a roll. It was fun. I hope to see you guys next week. Oh, you got to end it, Rebecca. I think, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking for the thing to end it. There we go.
Yeah. Bye.